This is Radar from the Radar Tape blog coming to you with another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations number 165. Due to moving out of my apartment, due to couch surfing and traveling, and moving into my new apartment, hasn't been many of these, nor the opportunity to watch many movies. So the last 4 movies I watched were Love and Thunder with Thor, Flux Gourmet, Love, Charlie the documentary, and The Innocents. So I'll get into the ones I like. The ones I didn't like is Flux Gourmet. Like, I'm a fan of Asa Butterfield for countless different roles the young actor's been in, and I don't know anyone else in this movie. So I don't know how it's a Tribune's critics pick, a certified rotten fresh tomatoes. It's literally one of those movies where you're like, oh, it's an hour 51 minutes with credits, so it's probably an hour and 45 and 46 minutes. You're right, yeah. But it moves so slow, like a 2.5 hour movie, that I'm just like, is this movie ever going to end? And I don't know why the Scully Public Library is a comedy sticker. There wasn't anything funny. It was boring, stupid, lots of yakety-yak talking and barely anything happening. It's about a troupe who does some weird erotic food stuff. I don't know, just so stupid. And then they're like, well, let's have Asa Butterfield sleep with the woman who's running this theater company. And then there's like a doctor, and then there's like a journalist who's dealing with stomach problems. Like, it's just stupid and made no sense. There are some times when I hear that movies got scrapped, I'm like, that at least had an interesting plot. Then there are the movies that are made, and you're like, why the heck was this movie even made in the first place? Who was this made for? And this one is definitely not made for anyone. Then I watched the movie The Innocent, where I'm glad that I can have English dubbed on there, because I wasn't going to sit through an almost 2-hour movie with subtitles of a movie again. It moves so slow. I kept checking on the PlayStation device, how long have I been watching this movie? And the first time I've only watched for 20 minutes. Oh, I only watched for 45 minutes. Oh, I've only watched an hour and there's another hour left. I'm like, oh my God, this thing is so slow burn and moving. And again, I don't know if I certified rotten fresh. Okay, Middle Eastern boy has powers, kills his mother, kills other people, injures other people. Middle Eastern girl with weird blemishes on her face, she's got powers too. These young girls, she has powers, and her autistic sister, whatever, has powers too. Whoop-de-doo that these children in this random little town have powers. And that one is evil, and they got to stop him. Whoop-de-doo. This was not good. Waste of time. I said way too slow burning of a movie for you to do that. The movies that I watched that I enjoyed was Love, Charlie. I didn't know anything about this because I was raised Orthodox and Jewish. So non-kosher restaurants that are not chain restaurants that you see advertisements for, I'm not going to know about, considered one of the greatest chefs, the greatest restaurants in restaurant history, even though I've been working in the restaurant food industry, unfortunately, for the last 12 years, is that famous restaurant by Chuck Trotter in Lincoln Park, going through all the ups and downs. They really went in depth on his upbringing and his whole life and his struggle in childhood through adulthood, through his untimely death. I think it's one of the best documentaries I've ever watched in my life. I feel like I learned so much and get an appreciation for this guy. And they have famous people like Wolfgang Puck and Emeril Lagasse and all these other famous chefs who were in this movie. And I was like, this documentary, and I'm like, you know what? 90-something minutes. You learned a lot from a documentary. High quality there. Then I watched Thor, Love and Thunder. And, of course, great soundtrack. So many Guns N' Roses songs, you know, Welcome to the Jungle. And, yeah, I don't know if I talked about this before, because again, my last movie review was 2 weeks ago, and I watched this actually 2 Saturdays ago. But if I'm repeating myself, I'm repeating myself. Great soundtrack, not inappropriate being PG-13, not 2.5 hours, just under 2 hours with like a couple post-credit scenes. And yeah, if I did talk about this and I'm doing it again, I apologize. But there was no point in making a Thor number 4 when the Avengers movies ended. He went off with Guardians of the Galaxy, and they showed him at the beginning of this movie, and they were fun of the better parts of the movie. They're the more entertaining part. for him to just go, okay, cool, me and the Rock guy, you know, with the guy Tahiti Wadi, who's, you know, made some of my favorite comedies, What We Do in the Shadows and Wellington Paranormal. He making this movie, and Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie, you know, annotations that she's lesbian. Who cares? All the kids of their planets get taken away, and he's got to save them. And Christian Bale, couldn't tell unless you looked it up, did a great job in this role as this evil bald guy with this sword that kills God, and he's killing them all. And Russell Crowe is a waste of time as Zeus. Like, Thor movies have been movies you watch and you enjoy them, and they're supposed to be a little bit comical and some like humor in the movie, because Captain America movies are very serious. So is Black Panther movie. First one was very serious, but this one has way too many jokes, and it was just a lot of stupidity. And no offense to Natalie Portman, famous actress, whatever. Her believable being, you know, this other, you know, Asgardian Thor type of character, Mighty Thor, is just kind of not believable. Oh, she's battling cancer. Oh, she's doing this, she's doing that. Let's bring her back up. When they wrote, and when she wasn't in some of the other movies. The best thing was they had Jamie Alexander from Blind Spot as Lady Sif, because they didn't even include her, she said, in the other Thor movies. They just ignored her because of scheduling with Blind Spot. So, Thor Love and Thunder wasn't the worst Marvel movie I watched. It wasn't the best movie. It just probably shouldn't have been made. But it was a watchable movie. It was somewhat enjoyable, and there were moments in the movie where like, yeah, I like it. I really get it. I like what's going on. So I apologize if I already reviewed this before, but it's just been a long couple of weeks since I moved out into moving in. But yeah, definitely watch Love Charlie, the documentary. Skip Flux Gourmet and skip The Innocents. Thanks again for listening to this show, Movie Reviews Observations, number 165. For On the Radar Today Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.